A former president and former Secretary of State could be in some legal trouble. The Clintons are now facing contempt charges after the former president failed to appear for a scheduled deposition with the House Oversight Committee. That hearing is part of the Jeffrey Epstein investigation.
All right, our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes, is joining us. Khalif, we know that the Clintons sent the letter saying they have no intention of coming before Congress and talking about it, saying that Congress, this is kind of almost illegal what they're doing. What do you make of this?
It's walk through the process first. Congress has the authority to issue subpoenas for documents and testimony. They can do that. And so if you fail to appear, then they can have contempt hearings. They're within their power to do that. It first has to go to the committee, and that's what they've talked about, going forward and doing that in committee. If it passes committee, then it will go to a full Senate or full House vote, and it has to be a simple majority for it to pass. Typically, if a person is reluctant to come, as the Clintons have said, that there are a number of different defenses that you could raise: executive privilege, attorney-client privilege, Fifth Amendment privilege, or what they've said is that they claim that the subpoena is invalid or overbroad. That was their argument. And so because of that, I think this may potentially be dead on arrival. However, they can go through the process and they can get all the way to the point of recommending it to the Department of Justice. But historically, at that moment, I think just because of the Clintons and their executive privilege that President Clinton would have in the claim of the subpoena being overly broad, I think it would probably not get past that stage.
Khalif, contempt is the word I hear. It makes me think of, legal movies that I've seen over the years. You are in contempt. This is criminal contempt. What is that? Is that even something that the Clinton family should be worried about?
Oh, you should be worried. This is not anything to play around with. If they weren't the former president and didn't have these potential presidential immunity and didn't have attorney-client privilege and all these other arguments that I suspect that their attorney would lay, yeah, you'd have an issue. Peter Navarro had an issue. Steve Bannon had an issue. Even Eric Holder had an issue. So you've had two folks of those, the first two, not Holder, went to prison for this. And so if they hold you in criminal contempt, that's the most common one. The speaker certifies the contempt to U.S. attorney, and the DOJ is supposed to present it to a grand jury. That's a misdemeanor, up to 1 year in prison. Civil enforcement is normally what happens, even though they're saying criminal contempt. I would suspect that it would be some type of civil enforcement. But why I said I think it's dead on arrival, because the DOJ often, I emphasize, often declines when executive privilege is exerted, and I suspect that's what President Clinton would do. And then the contemptor is aligned with the president. I suspect that's what his wife would do. And then the dispute is viewed as inter-branch. This is one branch trying to tell another branch what to do. I think that's why it would, for those three reasons, I think it would be hard to see the Department of Justice, even in this administration, bring in those type of criminal contempt charges against the former president.
The chairman of this committee that's holding these depositions, James Comer, has said that contempt proceedings could start as early as next week. If this is not dead on arrival, what would that actually look like?
I think that part goes forward. I think it will get out of committee. I think it gets out of committee and gets to a full vote. I think it potentially may not make it out of a full vote, because you don't want to have the fireworks and the theatrics of having, trying to get the votes and round up the votes to go after a former president. While we are extremely partisan in our nature right now politically, I don't think we want to tiptoe on that line of saying we'll go after political adversaries in this manner, and saying that Democrats and Republicans and trying to find enough votes to get him held in contempt. I just don't see it coming out of the full House, but I do see it coming out of committee.
All right, again, our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes, joining us. Khalif, thank you for breaking that down.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.